Hey, everybody, and Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. Thank you so much for tuning us in, and welcome back to the Jack Doyle podcast with Matt Taylor. That's the better part of the equation right there, Jack Doyle. I'm Matt Taylor, and again, this is going out on Christmas evening. So Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, everybody. Full disclosure, we are taping this ahead of the holiday, but obviously talking about the latest with the Indianapolis Colts. Unfortunately, some hard truths to discuss tonight as the Colts are now 8-7, lost on Monday Night Football to the San Francisco 49ers. The Colts have lost 5 in a row, 6 of their last 7, and playoff hopes are kind of tough to see right now, but we will get into all of it as we progress here. But as I said, Jack Doyle, this is going out on Christmas evening. So Merry Christmas to you. Give us a little bit of a foreshadow play-by-play. How do you think your morning went today with the kids getting up early and sniffing around under the Christmas tree trying to find out what Santa left them?
Yeah, up early. That's the right way to put it, Matt. Merry Christmas, everybody out here. Thanks for listening. Merry Christmas to you, Matt.
You as well.
It's just the best. It really is. Just seeing the excitement and getting to see it through the kid's eye is very, very special and something I cherish as the years go by.
No doubt about it. So hopefully the Doyle family is riding high.
Oh, yeah.
Opening up all those Christmas presents. And,
got the cinnamon rolls going in the oven.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh, classic.
Oh, yeah. Cinnamon rolls on a Christmas morning.
And I can smell your living room right now.
Oh, yeah.
Good aroma.
And
good scent.
And Matt, I got the trash bag out. I am a big trash bag. Hey, bottle that thing up, shoot it in the trash bag.
Yep, right here, pal.
We got to
right here.
I'm not worried about the presents. I'm worried about getting that wrapping paper in the trash as soon as possible.
That's me to a T. I am quality control on Christmas, right? I am on cleanup duty, and I'm just managing. Okay, I'm pretty sure there was a tissue paper that went underneath the couch. Got to get that later. You know what I mean? Like just scanning the inventory of all the cleanup that's going to happen throughout the course of the week and the day. Certainly. All right, let's get down to brass tacks here. We're going to talk about. We are just lamenting another tough loss for the Colts on Monday Night Football. We are going to describe the current state of things, and we're going to get Jack's thoughts on where the Colts go from here. With only 2 games to play, they get back inside the AFC South to wrap up the season. The Jaguars are up next, and then Week 18 against the Houston Texans. But the Colts fall to the 49ers 48-27. That drops them to 8-7 on the season. Jack Doyle, let's unpack just this giant ball of sorrow that we're dealing with right now. How tough of a pill was it to watch Monday Night Football and the Colts, to see the Colts struggle so mightily, especially on defense?
That was tough, Matt. Tough pill to swallow. It was just, it was tough to watch. You go to primetime football, and we talked about it last week, and how you get up for those games, and it's your chance to show, what your team's about, what you're about, and I know defensively they're waking up sick this morning for what they put out there, and it was really tough, but find a way to move forward and wake up the next day. The sun still comes up, and you get to play some more football. So let's get ready to roll.
Well, let's talk about the bright side of things, though. Let's take them in order. The offense, they put up 27 points against San Francisco. Right? I know it's not the same defense as the Colts saw the week before in Seattle, but still, they got some playmakers on that side of the ball. Round number 2, Phillip Rivers comes back, and he says, hey, guys, watch this. We were very game-specific against the Seahawks. Colts put up 27 points. Phillip Rivers actually throws for more yards in the first quarter on Monday Night Football than he did all of the week before against the Seattle Seahawks. The Colts were way more wide open in the passing game. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I think the Colts had 5 or 6 completions over 10 yards in that first quarter. What did you make of the way Phillip Rivers played and the way he was able to run that offense? And kind of a little bit of an anecdotal nugget here. First game for Phillip Rivers in front of a sold-out crowd at Lucas Oil Stadium in COVID, during the COVID season in 2020. He never played in front of more than 14,000 fans at Lucas Oil Stadium. Yeah. And you could tell the first couple of series in that game on Monday Night Football, shots of him on the Jumbotron, he was relishing the ability to be in a Colts uniform in front of a, the normal vibes that Lucas Oil Stadium puts off.
I mean, how cool just watching Phillip operate is just so much fun for me, man.
Yeah.
And, with Phillip coming back, I feel like a lot of former players, he's kind of playing for all of us, right? Like, that's how I've kind of felt like.
You are so much living through this.
Yeah, we are absolutely living through Phil right now, like acting like we could go do, something somewhat similar and got a couple plays left in us. But, what he did the other night and the way he played was, awesome to watch. And watching the no huddle and watching him just get right back into, playing quarterback and the way he's always played. And I know it was special for him, to have his whole family there. They kept showing them on TV. I mean, he's got kids up there who've never seen him play, right? And so that's got to be a great memory for his kids and getting to see Dad play. And now they'll be, some of them will be able to remember it and watching Dad play and him play well. So really cool for Phil and the whole Rivers family and for all of us to kind of watch as fans and see him, put some good film out there.
I don't know if this is true, but I just have to imagine. I mean, so much is still there in place offensively from when you played that one season with Phillip Rivers in 2020. You're watching these games from your living room the last 2 weeks, Jack. Are you finding yourself kind of like following along because you can hear the effects over the TV on Monday Night Football? They have the parabolic mics on the sideline, so you can hear the cadence and him calling things out and gesturing at the defense and, changing the play at the line of scrimmage. Are you hearing those things in the background and you're like, I know exactly what they're going to do here on offense?
Oh, it was funny. I was even I knew exactly what they're doing on every play. And again, it was, when they were up there calling it at the line of scrimmage, obviously. But it was fun for me, and I was texting, some of my buddies in a group text being like, hey, this is the play, saying stuff like that because it's very similar terminology and just watching him go up there and just operate and getting them in the right play and just picking apart an NFL defense after not playing football in so long. What an ultimate competitor, man, and it was really fun, and it just stinks that, it came in a losing effort, but was really proud of the way Phil played, and that was fun to watch.
Yeah, like I said, I even personally, I found myself trying to intentionally try to take a step back on the radio broadcast because, play-by-play, there's all the pre-snap set up. You got two receivers to the left and one goes to the right, a tight end here, a running back there. But you heard so much of that in the background during the play-by-play broadcast of the game. I just kept intentionally trying to say, just listen to me. It reminded me, I should say, of Peyton Manning when he was here with all the pointing and the gyrating and the the audibles and the checks in the line of scrimmage. I just tried to take a step back and just say, listen to the maestro on the field. Look how much diagnosis is going on pre-snap in the line of scrimmage by the great Phillip Rivers.
It was beautiful.
Let's step back and appreciate it.
It was a beautiful show, like a symphony, like an orchestra. You saying the maestro. It was just really cool to watch, man, and seeing him get him in the right place. And another part I love, not only just the play, but getting him in the right protection and watching San Fran show blitz on one side. I can hear the call, and I'm not going to say the word or whatever, what they're calling, why they're doing what. I don't want to say any of that. Let the other teams try and figure that out. But, him just being like, nope, that's not where it's coming. We're going over this way. And he just knows what they're doing. All this, people say you can't, diagnose NFL defenses now because they hide stuff so well, but not to Phillip Rivers.
You can only do so much.
He was right back in it. Like he knew what was going on. He knew where to take the protection and get us in the right play. There was he called one and hit Warren on a corner route when they brought pressure weak. And it just reminded me of a play. Like I remember hitting that with him in Pittsburgh, and the exact same play,
takes you back,
exact same pressure, and then there it was. So it was it was really fun for me to watch personally, as from playing with Phil and knowing what's kind of going on as he's orchestrating at the line of scrimmage.
You mentioned the offensive line protection. Man, the Colts offensive line has taken a hit. They have been pretty healthy altogether for most of this season. But now all of a sudden, you got the injury or the concussion to Braden Smith. He's out for the rest of the regular season. Bernard Ryman at the left tackle spot doesn't play. So the Colts switched up a lot of their personnel. Let's see if I can do this in real time. At left tackle, you had Jalen Travis. Mm-hmm. Left guard was Quentin Nelson, and by game's end, he was like the only holdover still there, the guy that's playing in his normal position. Tanner Bortolini goes out with a concussion in the first series.
Yeah.
So here comes in a very good player in Danny Pinter,
Right.
but still a backup. Then at right guard, you had Dalton Tucker making his first start of the season. And then at right tackle, the Colts moved normally their right guard, Matt Gonzalez, outside to right tackle. That's a lot of shuffling and moving around. How did you think Phillip Rivers handled that with, the trust of the guys to be able to do their job, but also to understand in the back of his mind, he's got a lot of guys that are playing out of position or playing new positions for the first time this year?
Yeah, I thought the communication was great. And Danny Pittner coming in there and being a veteran guy, and even he was here with Phil in 20, if I'm not mistaken. I think that was his rookie season. So being able to, have some familiarity there, and you just think of like the little, when those things come up, you think of the little things, right? Getting him in the right protection, the cadence. Phil's cadence is going to be different than what they've heard from Daniel all year, right? And he's going to go back to what he kind of normally does in the rhythm. And I think they had one false start, but it was really impressive for those guys to come in and just, hold the ship, and Phil's going to get the ball out fast, and he did a good job of that. But credit to those guys shuffling around and coming in there and competing.
Is it hard on guys like you, the tight ends? Like, put yourself in Tyler Warren's shoes. Is it tough on him when you have so much, movement along the offensive line?
Yeah, it is.
In the running game?
At the tackle position, for sure, because obviously that's who you're working with. And even at the center position, because you're trying to get those calls, too, from the center. But I thought Danny did a great job coming in there. I could see, just watching from the TV copy, watching him communicate and being demonstrative with his points, and him and Phil, being on the same page. But, yeah, it's, you don't get any reps. I bet Tyler's gotten very few reps of working zone blocking scheme
with Gonzalez,
right? Or with Travis, not even many with him. He's been working with Braden and Ryman all year. So yeah, there is, the offensive line, you always want to play, as a unit and as a group. So when they're shuffling in there, it can be quite a challenge.
All right, so that was the good. Good on Phillip Rivers. Congratulations to him. I mean, a lot of people were tuning in on a national scene to see how it looked, and he passed the test, man. He definitely gave the Colts a good opportunity to win that game, scoring 27 points. But let's go to the other side of the ball. All right, San Francisco, they rack up over 400 yards. Brock Purdy throws for a career-high 5 touchdowns. The 49ers scored on 7 of their first 8 possessions for the game. Christian McCaffrey scores 2 touchdowns. He goes over 100 yards rushing. George Kittle over 100 yards receiving. He also finds the end zone. The Colts give up 41 offensive points, as the 49ers also got on the board with a defensive pick 6. That gave them, their point total up to 47-48. But, I mean, this Jack Doyle comes after the Colts give up just 18 points and no touchdowns on the road to a very good Seattle offense. Such a contrast of output and production. 18 points, 6 field goals to 41 points allowed. I think a lot of people are having a hard time understanding this. What happened to the Colts defense?
Like you said, Matt, it's tough to understand. And that's the most frustrating part, is you give such a great effort last week and then just not have any consistency rolling into the next week, and carrying that momentum is just frustrating from a fan's perspective, and frustrating for the players too. They're waking up sick this morning, I guarantee it. And we didn't do a good job stopping the run. And obviously they have a great back in Christian McCaffrey, and they kept saying on the broadcast last night, but he hasn't really been rolling from a run game standpoint this year. Great, so that makes it even more frustrating that they were able to be so efficient on first down.
Yeah, he was well over 5 yards per carry.
I mean, it didn't feel like they really had any high stress third downs, right? I mean, I don't.
They didn't have any third downs until their third drive of the game.
There you go, right there.
Yeah.
It's really tough to play defense when you're giving up, big chunks on first down. And,
right.
That's what they did such a great job in Seattle last week. They were stopping the run. They were producing negative plays. They were getting tackles for loss, and they were just non-existent against the 49ers on Monday night. So again, the most frustrating part for me in watching it, and again what the players are feeling, is just the lack of consistency and rolling it over from one week to the next, and just it looking like a completely different defense.
Well, that's what happened in San Francisco, or against San Francisco on its own. But let's zoom out a little bit, all right? So 5-game losing skid here for the Colts. They've had their moments. I mean, Seattle was their best defensive performance within that 5-game stretch, even though it came in a loss. Situationally, I think for the most part, they've been playing pretty good. But the big picture is this. 5-game losing skid for the Colts. In that stretch, Jack, they ranked 31st in passing defense, 31st in yards allowed, and 28th in points allowed. And I just think, again, we talked about hard truths at the beginning of the podcast here. The hard truth is, despite a change in scheme, Lou Anarumo in his first year, and I get it, injuries have been a major theme for this Colts defense throughout the season. Sauce Gardner's missed the last couple of games. Charvarius Ward's on injured reserve. DeForest Buckner comes back for the first time in 5 games on Monday Night Football. He definitely didn't look the same guy, the same guy, the normally disruptive DeForest Buckner. And that's to be, expected and understood coming off a serious neck injury. But the bottom line is this. The Colts are in a similar spot right now towards the end of the season like they ended last year, kind of bottom or towards the bottom of the league in some really important defensive categories, totality-wise now on the season.
Yeah, it's frustrating, Matt. And it's everyone kind of taking their part. Defense, obviously, it's team defense, and that's where we're really sure. Everyone's kind of taking their turns and letting up plays and letting up big plays, and it's frustrating. You want more from the pass rush, and that'll help out the back end, or you want a little stickier on the back end, and that'll help out the pass rush, and linebackers making some tackles for loss. There's just so many little things that can help. I feel like defensive players and defensive units, they really build off the momentum of plays they're making, with each other and things like that. And it just, sometimes it just takes one. And even early in the year, I feel like the Colts, maybe we would give up some, but we'd make a timely stop or things like that and feast off of that. So,
or get a key takeaway to limit the point total.
Right.
And that's been the saving grace of the defense the last couple of years prior to this year.
Yeah. We're not getting the turnovers. They're not getting the ball out. And, it's just tough, man. And I remember when Phil came in, Phil's first interview, he was like, man, we got to run the ball and we got to play defense. And, we saw it in Seattle and it looked pretty good, lose a tough one. And then just, Phil comes out there and plays, better, if you want to put it that way. And then we don't help him out on the other team. So, just not playing complimentary football is going to get you beat this, in the NFL period, but especially this time of year.
And the pass rush, Brock Purdy, credit to him, played incredibly well, but he also had too much time.
Yeah.
He had way too much time to navigate the pocket, scan the field, get the ball to his weapons. Jennings and McCaffrey and Kittle before he got hurt. It was everybody. He was hit on only one of his 34 pass attempts on Monday Night Football. But again, if you zoom out, the Colts have 37 sacks as a team, but it's been kind of spread out throughout the course of that defense in the front 7. They've got 9 players with at least 2 sacks, but they haven't been able to produce like that dog. I think you and I talked about it during training camp or the first couple of weeks of this podcast. The Colts going into this season, Jack, I think they really needed somebody, specifically somebody off the edge, whether that was Latu or Kwity Paye, or maybe it's not fair to question if Ebicom could do that because he's coming off an Achilles injury last year, right? It's always kind of a weird ramp up back to the player that you want to be because of that injury. But the idea is the Colts needed somebody to turn into like a 10 to 12 to 15 sack guy. When the game's on the line, you're going to see some double team. The focus of the protection is going to be on you. You're still going to be able to make a play, or because of the focus being on you, it allows somebody else to make a play. The Colts just haven't been able to generate that type of guy or multiple guys to be just studs off the edge. And I get it. Like, there's only a couple of those guys in the NFL, right? The Myles Garretts of the world and the T.J. Watts, they don't grow on trees.
No.
But the Colts right now, they're still in search for a premier pass rusher off the edge.
Yeah, it's probably like the third most important position in football.
Yeah.
I mean, with the way the game is and how much people are throwing the ball and scoring points and all that fun stuff, like you need someone on the edge to be a game changer, game wrecker, right? You need the guy that, when the opposing team is having their first team meeting of the week, they're putting your picture up on the screen saying,
this guy can't beat us.
This guy can't wreck the game, right? This guy can't wreck the game, And it, like you said, it's tough to find, and there's a reason those guys are paid so well because of, we've seen how important the position is. And, you'd love to have a guy that, it's almost like he stays healthy, we're getting 10 sacks out of him.
Yeah.
He's going to get us a strip sack, once every 3 games.
Right.
It's something like
in
that.
crucial situations.
Yeah, you think of like the Robert Mathises, the Dwight Freeney's, like the guys that, you can play with a lead and, those guys can get off the ball and change a football game, you know. So, it's tough to not have that. And, hopefully, someone can step up and again, find some momentum, find some confidence and get rolling.
All right. We last week you mentioned Latu. Last week he was our player spotlight.
Yeah.
This week let's roll the player spotlight and double back to the offensive side of the ball because I don't want to overshadow what we saw last night and what we have consistently seen throughout the course of the season, especially here late in the year, what we're seeing out of Alec Pierce. Last week he hauls in 4 catches for a team-high 86 yards, 2 touchdowns. It's his first career multi-touchdown game. He becomes the first player with multiple touchdowns with catches over 15 yards in terms of touchdown reception since Nyheim Hines had 2 such catches for touchdowns week 8 of the 2020 season. So, Jack Doyle, the question to you is, Pierce is becoming a stud, and he's thriving no matter who the quarterback is. And unfortunately, Pierce and a lot of the guys, skill weapon-wise on this offense, are getting pretty good at thriving despite who their quarterback is throwing them the football. Where has Pierce shown to you the most growth this year in year number 4?
What a stud, man. I love watching him play football. He's just an ultimate competitor, man. That ball is in the air. It's his ball. That's my ball. That's the mentality he has. And, we see the touchdown, hitting the post. And I can't remember if it was the first or second one that he made a great move at the top of the route. I think it was the second one when the pass interference, it was the 3rd and long, and they got the pass interference called too, and he still caught it.
Yeah.
But he just made an unbelievable move at the top of the route, and that's where you've seen his game grow, right? He came in early, and it was like everyone was kind of pigeonholed that this is just a go route runner guy, and was great at tracking the deep ball. But he's really expanded his game and what he can do at from a release standpoint at the line of scrimmage, and then what he can do at the top of the routes to create separation. And then he goes and competes for every single football. I don't care if the ball is underthrown. I don't care if it's overthrown.
Yeah.
He competes. And that's why he draws so many pass interferences, right? I mean, it drives me nuts when I see a guy, when a ball's thrown, they're running deep down the field and a ball's underthrown, and the guy just kind of like flops and doesn't, but he puts his foot in the ground and comes back to the football and forces the refs to make those calls. And that's how you get those calls. And, what a competitor, man. I just love the way he plays football. It doesn't matter who's out there. And, it would have been fun to see. It made me think last night, like, Phillip Rivers loves a guy like Alec Pierce. Like, to see him, like, them both in their prime working together would have been a lot of fun to watch him go compete. Because Phillip just throws such a catchable ball that and he gives you a chance on every ball he throws. And you got a guy like Pierce who's big, physical, strong, fast, and competitor, man. And wants that ball, man. It's just fun to watch as a fan.
Well, and there's obviously, too, so much time to get into this. There's still 2 games to go in the regular season, plus the off season. Things are going to kick back into gear sooner than later once the season ends, whenever it does, as we, kind of kick around the ideas of, how should the Colts put together the roster for the upcoming season? What do they prioritize in free agency? But as it relates to the in-house free agency class, if you will, for the Colts, Pierce is going to lead. He's going to be the top guy that's going to be the most discussed within that free agency class for the Colts. So, again, we'll get into it now, but kind of kick it down the road for the appropriate, in-depth discussion. But, how much should the Colts prioritize Alec Pearson free
You don't
agency.
let that guy out the building. I mean, it's that simple,
Yeah.
in my opinion. What he's done.
And would you have been saying that at the beginning of the season?
No, I wouldn't have. Not necessarily, again, it's just the steps he's made every year to get better and better and better. And I know Reggie, it was fun to see how excited Reggie Wayne was after maybe it was the second touchdown, him high-fiving Phillip. And I know that's like, man, he feels good about how much he's worked with Alec and how much he's seen him develop and to see the move he made at the top of that route to score the touchdown on the little, nod route, post route, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, you don't let a guy like that out of the building. I mean, just, the way he carries himself, and the way he competes and the way that can be infectious to a whole team, man, I just really like the way he plays football. And, again, the way he's played this year, it'd be tough to let a guy like that, go shop the market.
Well, is it even more of an onus because you not lost, but now you don't have A.D. Mitchell in terms of depth.
Yeah.
Right? So now if you lose both guys, within the span of a couple of months, losing Pierce to free agency would really kind of, force your hand to continue to stock that shelf, if you will, at the wide receiver position, and you don't have 2 first-round draft picks the next couple of years.
Yeah, I think our wide receiver and just our skill position in general, that's one of our greatest strengths of our team. So let's try and keep that group together. I mean, you got Pierce. Pitt is a dog.
Yeah.
Downs, I think, is one of the better slot receivers in the game and unique in the way he can, figure out ways to get open and being quarterback friendly. And then you have Tyler Warren. That's an unbelievable unit, and in the skill position. So yeah, you don't want to let a guy like that go.
All right, put your former player hat back on here. All right, this is why I do, in all seriousness, I do love this podcast because of your perspective on a lot of different things, good and bad. So unfortunately, with this topic here, I mean, the Colts were 8-2. They were sort of the big man on campus as it relates to the AFC playoff standings not that long ago, and here they are, 8-7, needing a lot of help. And here's the deal, too. I mean, I think most people have read about this, but with this being put out late in the week for those that may have missed it, the Colts could flat out be eliminated from the playoffs before they even take the field on Sunday against the Jaguars, because the Texans play the Chargers on Saturday, a day early this week. So if the Texans beat L.A., the Colts, it doesn't matter what they do the last 2 games, doesn't matter what they do on Sunday against the Jaguars, the Colts could be eliminated as early as Saturday night, depending on that outcome out west. But again, put that former player hat back on, Jack Doyle. How do you keep coming back? How do you keep swiping that key card, coming into the office, getting inside the locker room, getting your treatment, performing with the same gusto and the same intensity at practice when you need a lot of help? You've lost 5 straight games. It's late in the season. Mentally, you're taxed. Physically, you're taxed. How do you keep bringing it and answering the bell? I mean, I know it's your job, but it's still easier said than done.
Yeah, it's tough. But you're playing in the NFL, and you have to reflect on that. My drive-ins when there was situations like that, it's like, Jack, and especially for me, Jack, you're playing for your hometown team, for the Indianapolis Colts, and you're playing freaking a kid's game, and you're playing football.
Do you have to have that perspective?
Yeah, you have to look
day?
yourself in the mirror and be like, I'm here to go play a kid's game, and I'm getting paid to do it. A lot of money to go play.
Still, how lucky am I?
How lucky are you? And have some pride, man. And you got to go look at it, from an optimistic look, and you got to try. And what I try to do is try and have that rub off on my teammates and just the way I was carrying myself. Hopefully other guys will kind of pick themselves up, and we'll go out there and have a good week of practice, because who cares what's going on around you? Mm-hmm. Things are not going to go your way in life. Life's not always fair. It doesn't, right now you can sulk, and what's that going to do? That's going to do nothing for anybody, right? Other than hurt you, hurt your career. It shows what kind of person you are, your reputation, right? Yeah. It's just not how you want to carry yourself. So, if they need to have a, what do you want to call it? Come to Jesus talk in the team room. Maybe they do, but you signed up for 17, and let's go play number 16, and let's go put our best foot forward. And the way you do that is you get back in your routine, you get into your details, and you prepare for a football game. Who cares what's going on around you? Everyone knows it, right? You know it, you hear it. You know that a lot of things kind of got to go our way, but you get an opportunity to play in the NFL. You got to remember that and keep it that simple.
Yeah, it's fascinating perspective. Seriously.
Yeah, you got to have it. Like, I always say, don't have a loser mentality, right? Like, be a winner, like in the way you carry yourself.
But do you have to stalk that out in the locker room? I mean, do you see it? Do you sense it? And when you see a guy kind of like buried in the back of his locker room, I'm just painting a picture here. Like a guy's got his hood up, buried on his phone, kind of disengaged from the rest of the locker room. I mean, how do you stalk that out, or does it matter this time of year?
Yeah, you do stalk it out. I usually, the way I carry myself, I wasn't a guy that like, I'm not going to go yell at a guy or something. I would try and make a joke and try and like, get the, when you get the vibes up a little bit, like let's bring the energy a little bit here and just trying to be, not annoying about it. Be like, hey, go Colts, let's go work, right? Yeah. I mean, that's the way I carried myself, and I tried to make that rub off on everybody else. And I think again, I know this group and this core group has been through a lot, right? But crazier things have happened, man. And this NFL is a crazy, crazy deal. So how sick would you be if, the scenarios do go your way and you don't take care of your business? And we haven't taken care of it to this point, but we get another opportunity coming up against Jacksonville. So let's go play some freaking football.
Yeah, you talked about the core group of guys that have been together.
Yeah.
And again, the unfortunate truth is this. Guys like Zaire Franklin, Quentin Nelson's been here a long time. Jonathan Taylor since 2020. Kenny Moore since 2017. Grover Stewart since 17. Buckner since 20. Pittman since 20. Mo Ali Cox since 2017. I could go on and on. But that's the core group of guys.
Yeah.
Damn good football players.
Yeah.
Damn good guys.
Yeah.
In terms of the playoffs, and we'll see what happens the rest of the year. Like you said, stranger things have happened. Still 2 games to go. We'll see. But to this point, just not a whole lot to show for it in terms of playing in the postseason. How much do you think that is weighing on the core group of guys, the great leaders inside this locker room, guys that are busting their ass every single week, but just don't have the postseason hardware accolades to put on their resume?
Yeah, it's weighing on them. It's weighing on me for them, right? Yeah. And, I go back to I feel like it kind of started with that 21 season. That was my last year. And that still weighs on me the way that one kind of went down. And I know those guys are feeling it, man. But, again, like you said, those are damn good guys, and they're going to carry themselves the right way. They're not going to let it show at work and the way they're leading this team. That's for sure. And we got plenty of times to soul search in the offseason and things like that. But right now, we got a game and a short week coming up fast. So you better get ready to go.
All right. Yeah, absolutely.
Go ahead, you're good.
All right, we got to close out the show here, but it is an interesting week. As we said, it is Christmas Day as we put this podcast out. We talked about a month ago with Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving's a unique situation because you still have a job to do, and you still have a job to do this week. But Thanksgiving, you kind of come in early, you leave early, go home, celebrate the holiday with family.
Right.
Christmas is different. You shut down, and rightfully so, right, for the holiest of holidays. Right, so Christmas is a whole different animal when it comes to the NFL. So you're coming off Monday Night Football. It's a short week, coming off a tough loss, and then you're kind of losing a day per se in the middle of the week in terms of preparation. How much of a monkey wrench does that throw into this week for the Colts when they got to have a win against the Jacksonville Jaguars?
Yeah, it is a monkey wrench, right? In a short week, and you only got, that means you're on Tuesday you're getting up and you're working after a tough loss on Monday night. You got Wednesday.
I mean, are you like combining days in terms of duties and things like that?
Yeah, you really are, because usually it's it's base run, base pass on Wednesday. It's third down and blitz, sub blitz on Thursdays, and then it's red zone on Friday. So you're going to have to intertwine something there because you're missing a day. But yeah, I didn't know that they completely shut down on Christmas. When that has to be somewhat kind of new.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think so.
I think, let me double back. I mean, they have to give the players a day off.
Yeah.
So with Christmas being in the middle of the week,
that makes sense.
They're giving them Thursday off instead of the normal Tuesday following a Monday night game.
No, that makes sense.
So that wasn't usual for you to have Christmas totally off.
Matt, I don't remember a lot.
Really?
I think we came in the afternoon, but then we played on Christmas my last year.
Yeah. And out in Arizona.
Maybe that had something to do with it. But yeah, no, that makes sense because, you have to have a day off
Yeah.
a week. So you're not going to do it today because you got to get in and watch the film, and you're missing a day.
Right.
So yeah, that makes a lot of sense, but that's funny.
So you would still come in on Christmas?
Yeah, we'd come in the afternoon. You get like morning with your kids, I think.
Yeah.
At least with Chuck for sure.
Really?
Yeah.
Was that hard? I mean, it's got to be hard to disengage from. I mean, it's two different mentalities right there.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the warm and fuzzy.
Oh,
and we
yeah.
just, Santa just came and ate the cookies to now I'm worrying about blitz pickup here. Right? I mean, that's two different dynamics.
Yeah, and that's the way it was.
That's a mind blank right there.
Is, yeah, that's the life in the NFL. That's for sure. But yeah.
I did not know that.
It was challenging. Yeah, I think so. Man, I could be completely wrong because I'm wrong about a lot.
No, if you say so.
But I remember coming in on Christmas. Maybe not. Maybe we would change it.
Okay.
We'd probably would do that, where it'd be the day off. But I remember at least a few years coming in. I mean, yeah, we played on Christmas in 21 down in Arizona. But yeah, no, it is. Even on Thanksgiving, like you said, it's tough to kind of balance the family, as it is throughout the whole NFL season, and balancing the family life and balancing, a job, a job playing football. But you get used to it at the same time, the whole family gets used to it.
Do you like NFL now playing on Christmas Day? I mean, shoot, if they can figure out a way to play on a Wednesday
They will.
or a Thursday, we know they can definitely play on Friday. I mean, as a former player, where do you stand on the NFL kind of taking over Christmas from the NBA?
Yeah, no, I mean, I wouldn't want to play on Christmas personally, right? Like, I got young kids, and it stunk to miss it and be in Arizona on Christmas
precious.
Day. Yeah, it stunk.
Those years you don't get back.
There's only so many that they're all in on Christmas,
No
right?
doubt.
As we know.
The magic of Christmas.
Yeah, so we, missing that stinks. And, if it was up to me, we'd play at 1:00 on Sunday.
Oh my God!
Every week.
We have agreed on a lot of things on this podcast, but that's probably where we are most in unison.
As we've learned, as you are too, Matt, we're very routine-based people. So if I can,
I just don't like to stay up late.
No, I don't either. And
my head hit the pillow the other night at 4:45, and that ain't cool.
That's the morning.
That ain't cool.
That's not night.
Yeah. Oh boy.
No, it's not. It's. And after the way it went too,
exactly.
That's what stinks about it. You got a home primetime game. And, it doesn't go that way. And
people don't care about us though.
No, they don't.
They just want the primetime ball, and I get it.
I get it.
Primetime ball's awesome.
It is, but on the back end, it's tough.
Yeah.
On the back end, it's tough. But yeah, obviously the challenges of playing on Christmas are tough for the families and things like that. But the NFL is going to play you whenever they can to get you on whatever streaming device.
That's it.
I mean, what is Netflix? Are they on Netflix on Christmas?
There's I think I'm right about this. There's 2 on Netflix and 1 on Prime.
Is there 3? Yeah, that's crazy.
So now you have to have 2 different streaming services services, I should say, in the same day.
Yeah, and we're probably going to get email this week that Netflix just went up another $1.
YouTube TV is now $98 after 5 years ago it was like 30 something. But so I digress. That's the way it's going, man. Yeah, just to watch college football, you have to have Peacock and ESPN Plus and
it was like HBO Max.
Now we have these college football games on TNT and Turner and all this stuff. But anyways, we're getting off topic. All right, we always close out the podcast with a fun little bit. We call it You Don't Know Jack. All right, get to know Jack Doyle a little bit better, more so than him just being the 2-time Pro Bowler with the Indianapolis Colts, former number 84. So this week's a layup. All right, here's the personal question we have for you. It's Christmas themed. Jack Doyle, give us your favorite Christmas or holiday tradition growing up, or perhaps one that's still going.
Yeah, for me, it was always just the simple things, Matt. It was going to church with the family. Mm-hmm. It was the excitement of, me and I have 3 sisters of us siblings, like all sleeping in the basement all together, not sleeping in our rooms, and, waking up at 5 a.m. and, our parents telling us to go back to bed. Like, it ain't time yet. They were probably partying the night before. they're like, get back to bed.
Christmas Eve at the Doyle house.
Yeah. Gotta celebrate. But they're saying get back to bed. But just the joy and sharing that with your siblings is something I'll always cherish. And then you have your own kids and you get to see them do it with theirs. Mm-hmm. Just the simple things about Christmas is what I always enjoyed.
I got to ask you on future shows, what was like growing up with just sisters?
Oh yeah,
Well, we'll save that.
Yeah, we'll save that.
Yeah,
we'll save that.
Man, I tell you what, you're living right there, brother. You got some stories to tell. As I didn't grow up with girls, and now I got one at home, and it is eye-opening. I can tell you that.
It's a different world.
It is. I mean, I'll tell you what, that's a whole different set of problems right there. I can guarantee you that. Now, what was your favorite gift growing up as a kid from Santa, or perhaps from mom and dad?
Yeah, that's easy. I got a bike when I was probably, I don't know, 11, 12. It was like at that age where I could like start riding my bike to my friend's house, even if they lived, even if I had to cross like
huge deal
10th Street or, cross a somewhat of a busy street.
Right.
And I got a Huffy, little, I don't know, BMX bike. It had the pegs on it. Oh, and I'll never forget. I was.
Listen, if you didn't have the pegs, you were not cool.
L7.
Yeah. Weenie.
I
can tell you that.
Yeah. I loved it. And I will never forget. So I remember going out. There was snow all over, the street. It was a white Christmas.
Yep.
And going out there and trying to hop, riding on the back pegs. And I'm like going on ice, right? And I'm riding, down the street. It's probably, 20 degrees Christmas morning. And then I tried to put my feet on the front pegs. Completely ate it.
Yeah, you bit it.
Lose it.
Oh, no.
It was almost like, Christmas Story, Red Ryder BB gun. Because I got the gift and I hurt myself. And then I remember coming up and like not telling my parents about it. And, making sure I didn't rip my pants because, we're getting ready to go to church or whatever. it's like, all right, don't tell them
you're
about
at
that.
church decor too.
Yeah, they're going to take the bike. So let's get in the car. And
just say you ripped it on the pew, on the kneeler, right?
It's it was my favorite gift ever. I loved that bike, and I rode the heck out of it again.
You still have it, or is it in storage?
It got stolen.
Got stolen?
Yeah.
You didn't lock it up?
No.
Where'd you drive it to? You ride it to like Dairy Queen or something?
No, David Page's house.
David Page.
Yeah.
What are we doing?
Yeah, come on, David. It's not his fault. I left it out front. But yeah, like I said, I was at the age I had like 4 or 5 buddies that lived close, and we were at each other's houses all the time, just biker gang going from one house to the other after the parents got tired of us. And then I left it at David Page's house, and my other buddy, Matt Catton, his bike was sitting right next to it. And just my bike got taken.
Yeah.
So
I guarantee we can find that thing on Craigslist somewhere.
I know.
We guarantee it's been hawked.
Oh, we stopped some kids in the street being like, "Hey, where'd you get that Huffy, man?
Yeah.
Where'd you get that Huffy?" But yeah, that's
it's got like skid marks or like an engraving on it underneath the seat or something. JD.
It taught me some responsibility. Take care of your stuff. Take care of your stuff, Jack. All on me.
Life lessons with Jack Doyle. The great Huffy got jacked. I'll tell you what. Oh, man. I guarantee somewhere that's in a pawn shop. I bet it's like in Montana or something. It's been moved all over the country. But the greatest gift that Jack Doyle ever received on Christmas. My friend, you are a gift to not only myself, but Colts fans. Well, we appreciate you so much doing this podcast all year long, man.
Thanks, Matt. Appreciate you, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Merry Christmas, everybody. That's Jack Doyle. I'm Matt Taylor. We will come back, hopefully with better news next week. The Colts looking to break a 5-game losing skid and looking to avoid being swept this season by the Jacksonville Jaguars. We will come back, get you set and ready to go for Week 18. We'll bridge the gap between Christmas and New Year's. But again, as always, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. We'll talk to you next week here on the Colts Podcast channel. So long, everybody. Happy holidays.